Research from the University of Adelaide has predicted that driverless cars could worsen traffic congestion rather than ease it. Here's the study's co-author, Dr. Raul Barreto. Hi, Raul. So how would driverless cars make traffic worse?
Well, if we consider that if basically the cost of using a driverless car were to drop, such that a person could decide between, let's say, using a driverless car versus simply public transportation, you could clearly imagine public transportation users increasing the load on roads. That's just simply one aspect. Others include, other people entering the road system that other previously weren't able to, children, elderly, etc.
Did you also find that people were adverse to sharing rides when it comes to driverless cars?
Absolutely. One of the aspects when we think of the driverless car future or the driverless car utopia is we make a number of assumptions. Amongst those is the idea of ride sharing and whatnot. One of the aspects that we found was that people, or at least a significant segment of the population, are adverse to this kind of thing. They have a very real relationship with their cars, and we have very limited evidence to believe that that relationship is going to break down anytime soon.
Yeah. Now, it was thought that driverless cars would reduce congestion because traffic flow would just be smoother. There wouldn't be the usual bottlenecks and build-ups. Is that not the case and never will be the case?
Well, in order for that to happen, there's a few assumptions. One of those, of course, is the idea that all the cars on the road are driverless, so they're on a sort of network. If that were the case, there'd be no need for traffic lights. Cars, again, it'd have far more efficiency on the road. But imagine if you are sharing the road, a driverless car with a drivered vehicle. Well, the driverless car can no longer communicate with the drivered vehicle and would have to give that vehicle very, very wide berth. As such, well, all the benefits that we typically think of from driverless cars, which are really network effects, well, they pretty much go away.
Yeah. How did you carry out the research, Raul?
Well, what we have, Adelaide is a unique environment because as it was a planned city, there are a finite number of entry-exit points, unlike pretty much any other major population center in the world. Consequently, what we are able to do is we're able to literally map the traffic flow in and out of Adelaide and create a daily map. By then, afterwards, we are able to say, okay, well, how long does it take to go from a typical outer suburb into the city? And we can hypothesize about a driverless car picking up an individual, taking them to the city, dropping them off, picking up someone else, and basically running throughout the entire day.
So is it possible then to adapt roads and road conditions to manage the transition to autonomous cars and avoid the increased traffic congestion?
Well, it is possible, but again, we don't necessarily know to what degree people's attitudes will remain the same or change. So if at present, think about your relationship with your car. To a large degree, your car is an extension of yourself. Well, in the future, will your driverless car be an extension of yourself? In other words, if it is, would you be willing to share it? If we look at the way we treat current cars, people don't want to share their cars. You don't even want people to touch your radio when you're in the car. Same idea. If that were to translate into the driverless future, well, you still have one car per person.
How long is it going to be before we see driverless cars
that's
as
a very
common
difficult
thing on the roads?
Yeah, well, that's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, ultimately, we do know that these disruptive technologies can move very quickly, but at the same time, people's perceptions and the change in people's perceptions move relatively slowly.
Dr. Raul Barreto, great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.